Right. On the question of XYZ and the Nation of Islam has a propaganda arm. They call it a research arm, and they put out books. For instance, one of the books they put out is the relationship of the Jews and their mistreatment, slavery, and ill treatment of blacks. It is generally a pile of trash, written by, well, they don't tell you who wrote it. It just says the Nation of Islam wrote it. So you don't know who the authors are. And however, it tries to foment a distrust, obviously to create social tension. So these guys are working very hard to foment social tension and disruption. Yes?
Can I just comment on that? Well, anybody who you can easily see that in the Bible is false. Just look at the Ethiopian eunuch who went to Jerusalem to worship and then was on his way back to Ethiopia. So anybody thinks that there's a distrust between Judaism or Jews and black people, the Bible clearly shows that to be false.
Right. Nathaniel says, don't forget that the Emir of Qatar owns Al Jazeera, probably the most influential news network in the world, considered the main cause of the Arab Spring. So some fair examples. Okay. And Sunny Sleep says, suddenly Dawa boys appear outside the clubs. Now, to continue with this, because it's fairly lengthy, but so I'm going to go through at a relatively fast pace. The role of Arab oil money is ignored. It is older than the Israeli lobby. It started with the Arab National League of America in the 1930s. I've mentioned this, how the CIA obliged King Saud of Saudi Arabia, who wanted to compete with the Israeli lobby. The Arab lobby is a group of 21 Islamic states plus Palestine, or Fakistan as I tend to call it. It is Saudi-led and dominated. It is represented in the US by oil interests, defense contractors, and corporations with commercial interests in Saudi Arabia and the 21 markets that we've mentioned here. Now, the Pentagon. Weapon sales protect US interests, of course, against Iran and the former Soviet threat. But of course, weapon sales also produce income for these groups. Now, the Pentagon, to lower unit costs and extend production life, they need to sell outside of just the US and Europe. And this has been very, very profitable, very lucrative for the arms industry. I worked within that industry for a long time in the Middle East. So yes, it is. I'm not complaining. It paid me very well back then. So now let's have a look at Palestine. Let's talk about the Palestinian question. Lobbying, are these people lobbying on behalf of the Palestinians, or are they lobbying against Israel? Remember, they said that the Palestinian issue is Islamic. It is not humanitarian. Let's have a brief look. This is the Grand Mufti of Palestine doing his Nazi salute because he volunteered for the Nazi army, became a general, and raised ultimately 600,000 troops. And I think something like 70,000 troops in Europe to fight on behalf of the Nazis. The Palestinians were very, very pro-Nazi. Here he is with Hitler. Here he is again with Hitler. This is the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem. And here he is, and of course these are Palestinians, your friendly, peaceful Palestinians with the Nazi symbol. Palestinians again with the Nazi symbol. This is with Hermann Goering, head of the SS. These are the Nazi salutes from your friendly Hamas types. Here he is again with the senior Nazi staff. Of course, these are pictures from Palestine, and this one is the flag of the Nazi youth of Palestine, the Nazi youth of Palestine. The Palestinians are not useful proxies. Yes, they are. That is true. But the Palestinians are also living in an Islamic theocracy. They are following the Sharia, and therefore they are wanting to do exactly what Islam tells them to do. Right? Now, Arafat was trained by the German werewolves. Yeah, well, red-green axis, as Paul said earlier. Now, understand. So now let's have a look here. Arab youths found Nazi club in Haifa. Probably just an accident. Probably just a total accident that these Arab youths founded a Nazi club in Israel. Just sheer accident. Okay, let's have a look. Nazis affiliate with Arabs to boycott Palestine goods. So the Armed Extremist Arab National Youth Organization, they should have called it the Armed Arab Religion of Peace Movement, threatened the boycott of Arab merchants who bought Zionist goods from Palestine. So they threatened their own. Okay, yes. Good point by Sutliff there. Let's not forget the Palestinian Hamas Nazi kites used to start fires in Israel. Exactly. So here they threatened their own who would do commerce with Israel. So they are threatening peace and commerce. Suspect Nazis in Palestine uprisings. Well, some Nazis came from Nazi Germany to help out with the Palestinian Nazi effort against those Jews. right? So, man, it looks like this is maybe not an accident. Looks like these guys are very much aligned with the Nazis. Let's see. Nazi handbills openly spread in Jerusalem. I wonder who was doing that. Every cent which goes into a Jewish pocket is a nail in the coffin of an Arab, the Nazi leaflet stated. Your thoughts so far, Thunderous?
No, I just smiled at that. That's just ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah. So let's continue. Hassan al-Banna builder, right? Hassan al-Banna was a Freemason as well as a Sufi. Understand? They run the largest Islamic secret society, let's call it that. And of course, the Muslim Brotherhood was responsible for starting or inspiring the creation of at least 200 Islamic terror groups. Right? Now, swastika on Arab oranges displeases Berlin Aryans. So oranges were being sent from Palestine to Germany, and they were wrapping the oranges individually in swastika, papers with swastikas printed on them. Just a sheer coincidence. Those Palestinians weren't Nazis. It's just. Do you think it was just an accident that they were so Nazi friendly, Thunderous?
No, of course not. There seems to be a coincidence or a pattern developing in the country.
Yeah, it does seem like a pattern seems to be developing. These guys are very, very Nazi friendly. So the question is, does Israel require military aid? Israel has peace treaties with only 2 of its neighbors. Technically, Israel is today at war with the rest of the Arab Islamic world. Iran is openly hostile. Now, for those of you who've watched my show for a while, you know that I've read through the preamble to the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Notice I didn't say the Buddhist Republic of Iran. And those of you who've watched, you will know that the Islamic Republic of Iran quotes the Quran and states that they need to make ready all their steeds of war and all tools and implements of war, because they need to export their revolution, their Islamic revolution, to the entire world. And the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps doesn't just defend the borders of Iran, it spreads through active operations, influence operations, it spreads the Islamic revolution to the entire planet. They have global aspirations, global political aspirations. So, Iran is openly hostile. Given the risks and threats, Israel must continue to maintain a strong defense. When I spoke to the former head of procurement of the UAE army, he told me that in their war plans, best case scenario, absolute best case scenario, if the Iranians decided to attack the UAE, they would overrun the country within 2 hours. He said that was absolute best case. He said their standard scenario was in under 1 hour. They would subdue the entire country. The Iranians could invade and take over the UAE in less than 1 hour.